Yeah, but like, if I'm MGM Studios, I'm like, what the fuck? Y'all just gonna be MGM too? We can't both be MGM. Fuck, like, change your name.
So look, Amazon. Well, let's start here. So in we're right now in the throes of the streaming wars, right? This began maybe a couple of years back, when it was announced that okay, Disney's going to have a streaming service, HBO's going to have a streaming service, who the fuck, Apple's going to have a streaming service. So everybody's hunkering down, doing all these things, and then ever since then, we've been seeing odd like mergers and acquisitions, and everybody's sort of going like everything's kind of condensing, and it's because of this whole streaming situation. One of the bigger studios that was always on like the skids was MGM, and back in the day they were huge. MGM was huge, stars out the ass. What they never adapted is MGM just kind of just stayed in whatever the model was 50, 60 years ago. They just stayed in that same model. And so that forced them into a situation where they just kind of had to keep going from one owner to the next. Now, why does that matter in the streaming wars? It matters to the streaming wars because the streaming wars at the end of the day is simply about content, both old and new, right? That whoever has the content is going to reign supreme, right? Which is why Netflix had such a head start with everybody, because they realized, oh shit, we need to start creating our own content instead of having everybody else's shit, right? And we're already in everybody's house because we're already on their fucking TVs and shit, right? We get this Amazon deal with MGM where they are buying MGM for about $8.4 billion dollars. I'm sorry, million. What the fuck am I talking about?
8.45. We can't forget billion. That other
that five.
We can't forget that because that's the big five still.
That is a big five. And so they purchase MGM for $8.45 billion. So look, I'll just read direct from an article from the Verge here. So Amazon has reached a deal to acquire the film and TV company MGM for about $8.45 billion. I don't know why I say $8.45 billion. The company's announced today it's a significant acquisition for the e-commerce giant, and it means it will own a library of content that's reported to consist of around 4,000 films and 17,000 hours of TV. The acquisition is likely to help Amazon attract even more big spending Prime subscribers as its as its Prime Video service competes with the likes of Netflix and Disney Plus. So the next question, of course, is okay. Well, what the fuck are they getting in the deal, right? Like, what is Amazon or MGM actually going to provide, right? Turns out quite a bit of shit is under the housing of MGM. So weirdly enough, they actually had to sell like their catalog. I think everything pre 1986, they sold. Not everything, but a majority of their films that they have pre 1986, they already sold that years back because they were already in trouble, right? I think they sold to different buyers like Warner, Sony. Different people have different things, right? But the movies that Amazon is going to have like the properties or the rights to: Rocky, the original Rocky, RoboCop, the Pink Panther. Silence of the Lambs, and of course the granddaddy of them all, Bond. And of course Legally Blonde, Moonstruck, Basic Instinct, The Thomas Crown Affair, and of course Tomb Raider. I don't know why I say of course, like that should have been standard knowledge. It's not.
Not to mention their TV content, right? They have some huge TV shows under their umbrella. Like just to name these two, which is highlighted in the article, The Voice, which is a massive show right now, as well as Shark Tank. I'm not sure if they're filming new episodes of Shark Tank, but it's still a phenomenal show. Something like in content, the Handmaid's Tale is one of them. Content like that will keep people there, not just for film, but for TV as well. So like this is a huge acquisition.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I'm actually really fucking curious what they're going to do with Handmaid's Tale, because technically Handmaid's Tale is under Hulu right now, right? Hulu is Hulu broadcast Handmaid's Tale, so one would think that you're not just going to let them show with fucking Handmaid's Tale with all these fucking eyeballs watching some shit that's connected to Disney, right? Fuck no. Bringing that shit right to us, right? So I'm really fucking curious what they do with that, because that's a popular series right now. You know, they're in the middle of their 4th season. They've already been approved for a 5th season. The fuck happens with Handmaid's Tale? So I thought that was really curious, but even more curious, 007, which is like the chief like property. That's the chief IP that is like the big one for them. They actually aren't going to own the rights to it outright. That they're only going to own about 50% of it. And it's because the other 50% is owned by Barbara, and I shit you not, Broccoli, and her brother, Michael Wilson. The siblings also have ironclad creative control, deciding when to make a new Bond film and who should play the title role, and whether remakes and television spinoffs get made. And they've already exercised the ability to block that in the past. And so
are these like the kids of the like the author of the original books or something like that?
Dude, I couldn't get past Barbara. Her name is Broccoli, and I couldn't get past that. I was just like, this is stupid. You fucking own 50% of Bond and your last name is Broccoli. Change that shit immediately. You need something more regal. All right, you don't fucking own Bond and fucking your last name's Broccoli. What kind of shit is this? Like they should have like they should have like. Oh, I froze on you.
Never mind. You're back. You're back.
All right. You can't have a last name with Broccoli and own Bond. What kind of bullshit is that, right? Like they should make that like a pre, like before you finish signing the documents, they're like, oh, also we need you to change your last name to something that's fucking appropriate for owning Bond, right? Here are the list of names that we have already pre-approved. But
any other vegetable.
Yeah.
Any other vegetable. Just
can't
not
be
broccoli.
Lame ass broccoli. Not even because broccoli is like man made, right? Like you got to go with something like that's fucking
something organic. It's got to be real.
So I thought that was really interesting, right? Now, the other thing that I found really interesting is that like, look. What does this mean for the streaming wars, right? Like, what does this mean for the future of the wars? What I think that this is the inevitable nature of what's happening. And that might sound broad, but I'll make it more specific here. But basically, if you don't already have a streaming service, it's too late. It's too late. Don't bother. Don't be Paramount. Okay, please don't be Paramount and think, we're going to start the Paramount streaming network and think that that's going to be even remotely good. All right. It's not, it's going to be trash. Nobody's going to watch that. Like if MGM wanted to start a streaming service now, nobody would fucking watch that.
Most people already have like 4 streaming services and they only use one of the 4, 90% of the time. So Paramount, like there's no point. You may as well just have like bought into one of the other ones.
Yeah. It's already too saturated. We're talking about a very, 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 very saturated market right now, right? So anybody who any organization or any film production company who's thinking about starting, like if A24 decided we want to start a garbage, don't do it. I love you, A24, don't do it. So what does that mean? If you want to get your shit seen, what you're going to have to do is partner up with a fucking existing streaming service, right? That would be the smart play. So look at what Sony just did with Netflix, right? I think it's both Netflix and who else did they partner with? They partnered with like somebody else. I think it might have been Disney. I can't remember. But it was Netflix where they say, okay, you have the window for showing our content, we give you rights to that or whatever the fuck the deal was, right? So I think you're going to see a lot more of that, and this is just one of those scenarios, right? So if you look around the landscape to studios, if you're a studio who is not currently tied to any sort of streaming services, it's only a matter of time before you do, because that's how you're going to that's the wave, that's the future of watching content, especially if it's not in theaters, right? If the days of just leaving shit just out there, like of buying DVDs or buying Blu-rays, whatever the fuck it is, or even just buying them through like VOD, that's kind of just, that's passe. That's like 5 years ago. That's like 10 years ago, what you want to do is be on a streaming service where you can continually, if I want to watch your shit at any time, boom, I can do that. And so I think that this is not the first and will certainly not be the last that we see a partnership. I think the big one that everybody's looking at right now is Sony, where they did sort of a partial partnership with Netflix, but it wasn't a full throated, hey, you guys are buying our Sony Pictures division. But I think that's eventually going to, either that or Sony's going to have to come out with some content with a streaming service of its own. Again, not a great idea.
Which it may cost too much and be like too slow in order to get that up and running to where you have enough active users and members to have the thing be profitable. You may as well just like partner with somebody else or license out your content. But let's be real. I think the next big ones that like people are going to be checking for to see like who they partner with or sign a distribution deal with is G-Unit Films and Master P's No Limit Production Studios. We got to see where like whichever streaming service gets like the Players Club, or that's they win. They're the king of the hill.
Wait, hold on. That might already be snatched up, put on Players Club.
Really?
Let's see.
If it's anywhere, it's on Amazon.
The first thing I'm seeing here is Tubi, which is not encouraging, but
really?
Yeah. Who distributed? I hate when I say shit wrong like that. Ghetto Bird Productions. Okay. Cube Vision Productions. Distributed by New Line Cinema, which is an offshoot, if I'm not mistaken, of MGM. Or was it?
Damn! I told you.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's Warner. That's Warner.
It's Warner. Okay.
Yeah. So theoretically, we should be able to find this on HBO Max, but of course, HBO Max is trash. So yeah, they're probably doing some fuck shit.
But anyway, crazy deal from Amazon. So one of the things I learned recently. So I was wondering, is MGM Studios, is that like the same ownership, same company or conglomerate as like MGM Resorts and MGM Casinos? And they are actually entirely separate entities.
Yeah, I think maybe once upon a time there might have been a commingling there, but yeah, I think that they're definitely separate things altogether. Yeah. Yeah,
but like if I'm MGM Studios, I'm like, what the fuck? Y'all just gonna be MGM too? We can't both be MGM. Fuck, like change your name. Remember when that? Remember a couple years ago when that rapper came out and his rap name was 22 Savage. Remember that whole thing?
Or like the game, both with the rapper The Game and the game Triple H, and how Triple H, who calls himself The Game, sued.
I remember that. Sued the rapper The Game.
Yeah. Yeah, so you would think MGM would be on their ship. They're like, we're out in Vegas just doing our thing. It's all good.
But no, like they're MGM. We're MGM.
different thing.
Very different. Yeah.
Very different.
We emphasize our first M. They emphasize their middle G.
You see, the spacing between the M's is a little different.
And we use a different font. Our font is entirely different.
Completely
we use a Google font.
Is it? All right. So yeah, man. So I think what this means for the future of the streaming wars, I don't think this really puts Amazon in like ahead of anybody. I think this kind of just is not necessarily a lateral. It's clearly like a positive for them, but I don't foresee this being like, oh my God, this is a game changer outside of just having some IPs now that they can fuck around with. But I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of those IPs are a little worn out already, right? Rocky, you already have Creed and shit, which is cool, but also that's kind of running its course too. if they decide to bring back Rocky, it's clearly either to be with Sylvester Stallone, without Sylvester Stallone. Either way, we're good. We don't need anything else there. The only one again that I find interesting is Handmaid's Tale, but I think that what this does to the game overall, man, is it. I was looking for Amazon. I mean, not Amazon. Apple to do some shit like this because I feel like they could benefit from something like this because nobody watches Apple TV Plus.
Yeah.
Nobody.
I mean, Apple has so much money, though. I think they're like going to try and see, like, all right, can we build our own thing first?
No, but that's what I'm saying is that this acquisition would have helped in that scenario. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think Apple's just going to buy like the NFL or the NBA or something like that. And like, we're the only place you can come to for sports. And then it's like, okay, you know,
that wouldn't be a bad look for them. Wouldn't be a bad look. I mean, they'd piss literally everybody off.
Apple does have enough money to buy the NFL, like all 32 NFL teams. Isn't that insane?
Is that true? That's scary money.
Yeah,
If that's true. That's scary.
That's true.
That's frightening amount of money. As Kanye said, no one man should have all that power, right?
Definitely not fucking Tim Cook.
Yeah. So yeah, let us know what you think of the acquisition. What do you think it means for the rest of the streaming wars? Will there ever be an end to the streaming wars? I think not. I think it will continue forever. And so, like, what's the alternative? Are we just going to have like fucking contacts that like allow us to watch movies through our contacts, which would still be streaming? So that's not really going to change. I think the streaming wars are it, man. I think that's just what we're going to be dealing with for the rest of the time.
Yeah, you know what? I just want to be able to watch movies faster now. You know, like I wish there was just like some type of way I could just put on a headset and watch like a 3-hour movie in 30 minutes.
No. Netflix actually was experimenting with some shit like that, but I am vehemently against that because it changes the experience of the movie. Like, and like, I'm not saying that it's like people do that with like audiobooks, right? Like people like speed the fucking audiobooks up and shit, but that's like you're watching a different movie in that case. To think of watching like honestly, I wish it would have been sped up as Army of the Dead. That movie was long as fuck for no apparent reason. Too long.
It was kind of long.
Yeah. But in any event, let us know what you think in the comment section below. Okay, let's head to our last one.